what your choices have been, and what karmic timelines and contracts you have journeyed. The light is calling for the reunification of all aspects of life in this realm now. It is calling for the cleansing of all polarities. It is calling for the rising of all sacred heart centers now. All are being summoned home to the greater light now. Hi, and welcome to Whole Soul Mastery's Live Well, Live Whole podcast series, where we focus on integrating polarity within and bringing a greater awareness to light and unity consciousness. I'm Marie Mohler, and I'm an author, a channel, and a host of the Whole Soul Mastery podcast series. And I'm here today with Delsol NTN, who is a seeker in the hero's journey, a knower and rememberer of divine truths, and a heart-centered practitioner and creator in the new earth that's unfolding. Delsol has a YouTube channel that is Solaris Trinity on YouTube, and you can find some new videos that he's going to be posting there as well. And I just want to say I'm so excited to be talking with you today, Delsol. We have lots that I know wants to stream through us organically, and we're just going to plant some seeds in this conversation today of what comes through us. But warm welcomes to you.
Thank you for having me here. It is an honor. I know I've been viewing your YouTube channel for quite some time, and then I've been integrating in the comments section, and it's been exciting, and I'm loving this journey. And thank you for being out there and doing exactly what you need to do to integrate others and accommodate others on their journey as well. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Well, I want to maybe start us off a little bit about you telling just a little bit about your own journey, your journey of spiritual awakening. Were you always connected? Was it something that you rediscovered at a certain point in your life? Share a little bit about you and what, helped you arrive in this place of a greater presence and awareness inside you.
Well, I was one of 9 born in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. And out of the 9, I was normally always alone, out doing my thing, just observing. I was very observant and very analytical, just noticing things and always off on my own journey, not knowing that later on it would lead me to be where I am right now as, I guess you could say, a soloist, exploring new realities, new realms. But I've always known that I was connected, mostly to the water and to the earth, because I could be in the water all day. And I love playing in the dirt. I love outside. So that was always my connection, and I'm still connected that way. Fast forward to early childhood, and then early adolescent, and then now it's 2008, knowing that you're always connected and always searching for that void, to fill that void in there. And then 2008, things started to click. Noticing you're waking up and vibrationally everything's changing around us, and you're noticing the sunshine is different, the light is different, the air is different, the color of the trees is different. And every subtle images and instances, the colors are just now changing, and you're noticing these things more and more. And then you start to notice your own vibration within, and then you notice that certain things are vibrating out of your field, and your field is expanding, but things are vibrating out. Fast forward to it's 2008, and now first marriage didn't work. I've come to learn that not all relationships are meant to last. It'll just carry you through to a certain point, and then after that, you take what you need what you learn, and then you move
Mhm.
on as a blessing. So everything didn't start working until I would say 2012, 2013. December 2012 was a huge turning point, um, where everything was just, it was a still point. And I started seeking more answers. I developed a family on Google Plus, which was a platform that great many of us use, and then now since went extinct. Um,
Mhm.
Gathered a lot of friends, and it really opened me up to say, hey, you're not alone. There are other seekers like yourself seeking answers, looking within, and then coming together as a community, where it really thrived for a few years. And then things really awakened in 2013 and 2014, where I started becoming into my own being and my own understanding in my place in the spirituality. I remember waking up one morning and I looked at my wife and I was like, I feel like I'm being dragged into a world I had no business in.
Mhm.
But now knowing that this is my business, this is our place, this is where we start to remember and everything. So after the years go by, everything starts making sense. And
Mm.
here we are in 2020. Um, one of A friend of mine in Google Plus introduced me to your channel, and ever since then, I've been listening, and everything that you say has been resonating, and it's been resonating very, very loud over the years and every month. So I look forward to
Mm.
every 2 weeks listening to your channel and the resonation. So as I started imbued more of who I am and understanding everything else, I started to resonate and understand that we are all part of the journey and we are all connected. And I started bringing through my own frequencies, through sound and vibration, and understanding that we are always in the right place at the right time, whether it is to help another on the journey or to assist in a clearing or anything that one needs at that particular point in time. We are always here for that
Mm.
as an individual and as a collective.
So beautiful. And I could feel so many of the energies from you growing up on the island and having connections with water. When you were saying that, I was noticing your blue sweater, feeling that you're wearing the ocean, and talk about frequency, right? Like we naturally attract, who we are. We naturally attract
Yes.
our vibrational essence and who we are. And so I was just listening to all the different vibrations in your journey. And we do go through these timelines of we have many relationships over time. And some of those relationships are meant to give us, a certain amount of lessons, and we journey for a few chapters of our life. And then we move on and they move on into other adventures. And some of us, journey for a whole lifetime, but there's a divine timing to all of it, and there's a precision
Absolutely.
to all of it. And it's like we have to be in the journey. And like you said, you sound like a very observant child. I think having that ability to be, I don't know if you would have used these words, but content inside yourself. Even as a child, you had this way of beingness that you were comfortable with yourself, and that gives you a
Yes.
state of presence, right?
Yes. Everyone always they always talk about my presence whenever when I'm somewhere or in somewhere or doing something. Someone would always look at me and say, hey, are you military? Are you undercover? Um, and it's funny because my nieces and nephews will come up to me and be like, my friends think you're undercover. And I'm like, no, this is just me. I'm observant. I know what's going on at any given point in time. And I'm always in tune with the energies around. So it's like I'm enjoying things, but I have this serious look on my face as to what's going on. elsewhere in other dimensions in the flow of things. So
Right.
it's always being present. And you said something perfect, where it's divine, guiding by the divine, where everything is in divine timing. I come to understand that you're always exactly where you need to be on the path. Nothing more, nothing less. You'll always have everything that you need at the right time. Always. And I've come to understand that.
And you right, and you we do come to understand that, don't we, from living and allowing the experience of life to move through us. It's like we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And so we are vibrational beings having a physical experience. And, I know before my own awakening, I guess I would say, I was always present in my life, similar in the ways that you describe. And I would add the words, I felt very empathic. I was a very sensitive child. And so life sometimes was even a little bit overwhelming because I was perceiving a lot more and it didn't have a language for that. But as we awaken and we move into this greater awareness that we are these spiritual beings having these human experiences, we start to really value this human vessel, and we can start to be a witness and have awareness that energy is moving through us all the time, right? When we're not overly attached to who we think we are, we can be more an observer of the energy that's on the move all the time, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When we come in contact with that energy and we allow it to flow, um, others are set in our path to then activate other energies within us
Right.
and tune, changing our vibration and changing our frequencies. So everyone that we meet is an integral part of us
Mm.
on our journey and also on their journey. So everything as we evolve, we meet different individuals at certain points to trigger within us a
Yeah.
different frequency and a different energy and a different understanding and a different knowing. So we're always evolving every day with the frequency, the energies, the
Right.
vibration, always constant flow of flux. Nothing is finite.
Right. Nothing is fine. Nothing's static. Right. And it's like they say, like every moment is a new creative opportunity. Every moment is part of creation, and we're the creator in that creation that's experiencing the divine. And I know not all of our listeners necessarily feel like they're tapped into all that all the time. And I can speak from experience. My life hasn't been absolute bliss in every single moment, but it's always been an invitation to bliss. And when I haven't been experiencing something that makes me feel joy or makes me feel flowful, or something that I want to expand that feeling or just soak in that experience of greatness or amazingness, I'm aware that that also is informing the creative moment, the moment of creation that I'm in. And there's something inside my life. I mean, maybe that's something we want to talk about, but as a child, I was very aware of always called to create something. My channel on YouTube is Color the Magic. Now, I didn't have those words when I was a kid, but that is how I lived. I literally was a kid who like colored in coloring books. I was always drawing. I had my markers. Like I was a very creative, star being, creative, empathic, sensitive child, right? And I had a lot of imagination, and that's who I was. And then, like many of us, I went through. There was an experience. I think for me, it was when, and I write about this in one of my books, Cosmic Wealth, when I was skipping home because I think it was like Christmas break, and I was 7, 8, or 9 ish at the time, and I was like a little Christmas elf, so excited because Christmas was so magical to me on every level. And I think that was the time of year where I really just allowed the full expression of my joy at that time of year. And and someone saw my happiness, one of my neighbors, one of the kids on the street, and we were coming home from school, and I think she was kind of looking at me, watching me, and be like, you don't still believe, do you? Like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, what do you mean? And I'm, still skipping and happy, and it's Christmas, it's Christmas. And she said, well, there's no such thing. Like, the whole thing is made up. And I write about this in one of my books because I talk about, and as I reflected when I was even writing that book, what it's like, the look on her face, I can still remember it today, of like the pain she felt that it wasn't real, that the magic wasn't accessible, that she had already gone through the disillusionment of there is no such thing as magic. And I was like, well, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but it is real. And and I skipped on
Because
home, and I talked to my mom, and I was like expecting her to say, honey, I don't know, we'll find ways to support her, whatever. But no, of course it's true. But no, of course, my parents sat me down and said, well, it is a nice story, and you were always so excited about it. And, and I felt, I just remember thinking like this, I know something inside me that's true. And now, for the first time, I'm hearing people around me, they've lost connection with that. It's like the Polar Express. Do you remember that story?
I remember, yes, absolutely.
It's
As
like,
we as we get older, we start to disillusion and we start to disconnect from what's truly inside that keeps us, that child that's within, that we get to honor that part of us. We get to go back and return to experience those experiences that brings us joy. In the moment, we get to be in that moment of pure bliss. And we believe, when we believe, we see everything around us in the little microfractures, and we get to enjoy them just a little bit. You turn around, you see that glimmer in the side of your eye, and you smile and you move on, and you know that magic is all around us. Absolutely.
and I think having that like presence, that inner child inside us, that excitement, that awareness that every day is a new adventure, it's a new creation, it's a new way. Like, who am I going to meet, what interactions am I going to have, how's the energy going to move through me today, in a new way. And inevitably, even though we're in a time of COVID right now while we're recording this podcast, to put some context, if somebody finds this video much later, years from now,
I will.
and we might be, you might think, I'm just in my house, I'm not seeing many people, or maybe you go to work, right? But there's magic everywhere. And when that spectrum of like cosmic color comes into your life, that everything is just a little more vibrant when you allow that kind of magic in. And I just want to say, in my story, which is kind of, in a way, the essence of the Polar Express, and I think it's fairly universal for people, anybody who practices, who's practices the Christian faith in some way and celebrates Christmas. That's just one way where it's almost like we have this culturally conditioned age where it's okay to believe. It's okay to believe at 3. It's okay to believe maybe at 5. At a certain point, society conditions us to, okay, now there's like, it's not age appropriate to believe
It's
like
not
that.
okay. It's not okay to, yes, absolutely correct. And that we're now changing because a great many of us are finding ways to believe and extrapolate those codes that are within to further expand the experiences of just being in the light and walking with that light wherever you go, knowing that nothing that anyone can say or do can affect you on the inside, but you have the utmost ability to, just by your mere presence being wherever you need to be, to change the whole dynamics of the situation at hand, just by your presence and you believing in that light.
It is so true. And I just want to call attention, when you're talking about that your name is Del Sol, and soul, I believe in Spanish, is sun, right?
That is correct.
So it's kind of the sun. Is that what your name means?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. I am of the sun. Um, and I used to as a kid, I was like, I bring sunshine wherever I go. And now some people know me as Dom Asul, as the blue sun, and which I understand is very, very rare to have seen or the blue sun.
Yeah.
People attribute to Sirius. So I am a blue sun just here, existing.
Emanating those frequencies as a willing presence, aware of yourself as this amazing multidimensional divine being.
Emanating sun codes to all those who are in my presence and are also just weaving light just wherever I go,
Right.
weaving light into the grid, into the planet, into everyone that's around me. And I honor that every day that I go out. And I never know who I'm going to be meeting at any given point in time that I may be assisting.
Mm.
Just a smile or a few words or anything else like that. It's remarkable to be on a journey. Sometimes I come home, I speak with my wife, and I tell her about the experience of my day. I met this individual, I did this, and I did that, and she's just like, "How?" Just going to work will do that. But yes, it's honorable, and it's a beautiful journey, and it's great, and I love it. I love every aspect of it. I never know what's gonna happen or how I'm gonna react or what energies are gonna hit me or it's beautiful, but everything is always welcome in the divine.
Yeah, there's a peace. There's a peace and a joy in what you're describing too, the vibrations of that. There's a groundedness and obviously a positive energy when you can move in your day and know that everything is happening for a reason. Everything is meaningful. Everything is purposeful. I think that was one of my early experiences when I was first started awakening and I first started to re-allow. So if I was a child that remembered, and then I went through a period of time where I didn't completely forget, but I became like a regular kid in a 3D earth who went to school and did homework and, you know,
Yes,
all those
yes,
things. And as I was reawakening back into my sovereign essence, my soul presence, my higher self, that essence of the divine in me. I was remembering, and, there are just, there are many ways to just allowing source energy to shine through us. My business, the umbrella, if you're Delsol, which is of the sun, right? And my business is called Shine Your Light Gifts. My book series that I wrote is Shine Your Light. The two of us are tapped into these energies, and all of us are. We're just voices and messengers right now for anyone listening, that this isn't just, it's not just something that was for two people on the planet, you
no,
know,
it is.
you and
It,
me, right? It's for everyone.
it is for everyone, and we are here to shine that light so everyone can see, can understand, can they have questions, we may be able to assist and guide them and allow them to shine their own light, to come into their own truth at any given point in time. And I know that when we reawaken, there's a lot of questions, and then the ego gets involved. It's like, I want this, I want this, I want this. What's next? Why is this? Why is this happening? Why am I not here? And so it's going to go from step one, and we all want to conceptualize everything and put everything in a box. And it's like we go from here, we go from there. But when you break the walls down,
Mm.
instead of flowing, everything comes to you at the perfect time. When you come to an understanding or you have visions, everything is in timing. You all see what you need to see at any given point in time. You don't see the entire picture yet, but you get this part, then you'll get this part, and you get this part, and then everything will start making sense along the way.
Mm.
And then we honor those gifts, those visions, and
Yeah.
the energies that are streaming through us, even though it doesn't make sense now. But hey, we are conduits of
Yeah.
the ever flowing energy that's within us, that's coming through us.
It's such that you said that so beautifully, that essence of us as conduits and as vessels. And There was someone I think that once talked about, and I even might have written a song about being a vessel to a holy purpose. And I think many of us can tap into that. A lot of people are asking themselves that question: what's my purpose? What's my purpose? There, in the last few years, and especially this last year, 2020, which the guides that I channel have talked about as the ultimate year of clear soul sight.
I
And
love this year. It's a beautiful year. It's amazing. So
it
much change.
exactly, exactly. And change is creationary, right? When change is coming into your life in whatever form it is, it's shaking up that which no longer belongs, that which no longer serves, and it's shining a light in what wants to manifest as a new or expanded experience in you. So, change can be very uncomfortable if we're trying to hold on to what was, when we're not allowing ourselves to be that presence and in the flow. You describe flow so well. It's just when we awaken, there's something that happens when the boxes that we live in from our egos, and they open up and they expand and we drop the walls, I think you said.
Of
And
the
then we're in
walls.
that presence with everything. We're in the oneness, and you join the flow again, right?
Yes. I remember this perfect vision that I was on a meditation, group meditation, and it's understanding light language and speaking light language for the first time. And I remember once I got to a point, I was thrusted into this space, into a vacuum. And then all of a sudden, all these symbols just came rushing into me. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And understanding that all these symbols were always within me at
Mm,
all point in time. It was just waiting for the right time to reawaken and understand that, hey, these are here. These have always been a part of you.
mm,
You've just not been in tune to them. So now they're here and you can understand and you can share these along the way.
mm. It is, that's where the magic is, when you
Yes.
realize that it's been within you the whole time. But there the way, the way the ego works and the way our conditioning works here is that we are kind of carefree as these children, as these inner children, and then we are conditioned into more and more boxes, whether that's school, whether that's families, requirements, expectations, all those things. They start to put more and more of the walls up, and then as adults we feel those walls. And unless there's been kind of a catalytic experience of some kind, whether it's a relationship that's falling away, whether it's an illness, whether it's something financial, stress is squeezing people, this is a very creative universe, and we're very creative beings. So we can create all kinds of squeezes that can catalyze us and take us into experiences that aren't comfortable, that aren't maybe fun or flowful. And when we're feeling that, we're feeling all of our walls. And I know I can speak from experience that we'll defend those walls, or we'll hold on to them because we'll feel like that's what we need to defend, or that's what we need to work hard to maintain the structure. And in fact, often when we transmute that pain, it's when we drop the walls, it's when we
Yes.
let go the conditioning.
And
And
allow you let go of the conditioning and you allow that fear to set in and you absorb it and you understand it that it's not really fear, it's just something new is coming, something new is happening. You're expanding and you're understanding that these walls no longer contain all that you are, that
right,
you have the now the vastness of
right,
everything around you and all that at your fingertips and you can
right.
pull any given point in time. So the walls is very, very, very good concept. But then once they fall and they fade away, they're gone. And it's all up to you. Nobody can take those walls down but you.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you feel more, you tap into that energy of the greater oneness. You do start to see your world with more expanded vision. Like you can feel other people more, or in a different way, and maybe with a greater compassion than you did when you had all of your walls. Because when your walls are up, we're all separated and you're trying to survive. It's very kind of, if we get into the chakra system, it's a very root chakra way of living of, I need to protect myself, I need to ensure my own survival, I need to look out for just my family and my little circle here. um, but when the walls start dropping, regardless of the catalyst or the invitation that comes to expand and open our hearts more, we do start feeling other people. And that's when I think we each move into being a presence, whether it's on a YouTube channel, whether it's just a presence in our family, with our kids, with our partners, with our parents, with our siblings. You become the sun, that sunshine in your life that
Yes,
people can simply receive, or they can marvel at, or they can even not understand it, but it doesn't stop the sun from shining, right?
that is correct. You become that beacon of light that everyone will seek, no matter where you are. They will always find you, no matter where or when you are. You'll always have that one person that needs to hear those words from you or me or anyone who's embodied with that light. And it gives them that much more confidence to continue on their journey, so they too can make that change for someone else.
Yeah, right. And that's when just our presence, when people ask about their purpose, in some, this came through a reading for a client in the last year, and it was so profound and so simple, and yet we miss it all the time. Is that our vibration is our purpose? Our frequency is our purpose. Our presence here is our purpose. Our presence is our vibration. And when we allow ourselves to feel that, we're not late for our purpose. We didn't miss our purpose. You can't miss what you already are, right?
No, you cannot. You cannot. And the purpose here for a lot of people ask me, "I said, what's my purpose?" And I said, "Your purpose is just to be.
Yeah.
That's it. Just to be who you are, who you're meant to be. Whatever that is just to be here, to be that beacon for others so you can expand around that. There's no, hey, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. Just be wherever that beingness takes you. Understand that it's not final destination.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's this energy of like the soul or the presence or the vibration or the divinity that we are. It loves nothing more than expansion. It loves to experience life itself and to expand itself. And isn't that what God or source or creation is? It's always expanding. And when we realize, when we wake up every day, we are invited into enjoying the gift of that expansion of whatever interactions we're going to have, whatever connections we're going to have. And I think it's important sometimes to also bring into these conversations, because we can bliss out in this level of light, and at the same time there are many people who I could say are presently struggling or even suffering. And I'd love to ask you, it sounds like you were always tuned into something really just beautiful. You were being fed from the inside out as a kid. As a kid, you came in with that presence. But now as an adult, are there sometimes when do you ever get knocked off your game and feel like, what are the ways that you found over the years to if you're experiencing a challenge, what are the things that you do to recenter in what you already know?
I think this past summer really, really put me, it took me out of my comfort zone and really put me into the fire. And it everything, as a district manager, everything, you're in charge of all these stores and you're doing this, and it's in this one store, the manager had quit, and it was the middle of the busy season, and everything started after. she read, everything started cascading, everything just started piling up. And then all of a sudden, it's like everything's coming at you from all angles and
Right.
answers. And I remember um, taking a break. I stepped outside. I remember I called my wife and I was like, I took a deep breath, that conscious breath. And I said to myself, I'm tired. I literally said those words that I'm tired. And then all of a sudden I felt an inseparable amount of energy just came around me and comfort me. And then later on, I read a post that it is okay to be tired,
Yeah.
that you don't always have to do everything all the time. It's okay to allow others to come in and step in to assist. We are a beacon of light, but sometimes we need a break.
Yeah.
And it's okay to say that you're tired. And that was the first time I've ever uttered those words. And I was tired. And it was kind of like a soul felt relief that
Mm.
it was just like, okay, finally he said it. Okay, now let's go. We got it. And then everything started changing. People came from elsewhere I brought in and everything started moving. So it's okay to have that feeling. It's like I'm tired, to allow assistance from others because
Mhm.
in the end we're not supposed to do it all, even though we feel like we have to. It's okay to take a break, and taking a break doesn't mean that you failed. It just means you need time to rest and embody and then continue along, because you need to tap in to just recharge at any given point in time. So if you're going 24/7, constantly, you're going to need that break and you're going to find that breaking point. And find that breaking point is okay, to allow assistance and then take that deep conscious breath and allow and then re-energize and then go again. So
Mm.
it's okay to be tired and it's okay to have that break. And it is okay to get assistance, no matter how big and tall and that you are going to need assistance at
Mm.
some point.
And sometimes those moments that come in that feel bigger than us or bigger than what we can handle is calling in the bigger backup, is calling in that partnering with spirit, with your breath. And I've spoken in a few podcasts, certainly in many of the transmissions. People who listen to Color the Magic and the Arcturian Collective's transmissions know that they always lead with that conscious breathing. It is soul skill number one. And if you're in an experience presently that doesn't feel good to you, right? Or you feel challenged or something is just either making you feel contracted or just completely overwhelmed in some way and you're just tired, you need that conscious breath that is when source moves through you and we breathe. I don't know how many breaths we take a day. I still need to look that up, but we take a good many, right? And
We
when
take
we,
a good many, but the ones that are count are the soulful ones that
yes,
recharge and gives us that pause. Those deep, long ones that you fill yourself up and you can feel your entire body just lighting up. And those are the meaningful and the soulful ones that we actually need, um, to give ourselves that pause.
yeah. And that resetting, you can reset yourself with a breath in one moment when you are overwhelmed, and we just almost feel like the breath leaving us, like we feel depleted or defeated, right? When you literally take a breath and you do it soulfully, like you said, you do it consciously, you're re-nourishing yourself in this divine reset. And you think about how many breaths we take, many, and we can do that in any moment. And even as a parent, my whole life in the parenting journey, I've had a number of challenges over the years, and it's always good in any circumstance when we're challenged is to take that breath, because that is spirit, that is source energy flowing through you saying, we've got this, I'm right here with you, I'm breathing this breath with you, right? You have all the backup from the universe and from the creation to, find a higher place, find a more neutral response, even, right? Find a pathway or a solution out of whatever you're experiencing. And yeah,
Sometimes,
yeah, go ahead.
sometimes in that experience, sometimes all we need to do is just be a witness, not knowing that you can or will control everything. Sometimes spirit just needs you there to be a witness. And sometimes that's our purpose. No matter how hard and difficult it may be, you sometimes have to be that witness and allow things to unfold and allow things to happen and be accepting
Mm,
as being a witness.
mm,
Because technically we do not have control. We do not have we have control over our being, yes, but as to other contexts, allow flow and be that witness to allow it to happen.
yeah. And
Yes,
and the breath supports that witness, observing, that presence inside you, that awareness that helps a bigger perspective, a calmness, a grace to move through us when we're not always feeling that. And it's okay to admit that we're not feeling that, because when we allow that expression with honesty and authenticity inside ourselves, and we witness ourselves not feeling good, that's often when, like you're saying, what flows in is whatever is going to reset or support us, to rebalance and recalibrate and step up in some way. It is amazing. It is amazing to have that kind of faith and fortitude, and you only get it by living it, right? You can't read it in a book. You can be inspired by other people and their presence and their gifts and their journeys. But at some level, we have to do the inner work. We have to do the vibrational work. We have to step up and be the one who takes that breath, who allows the reset, who admits what we're feeling, admits the vibrations that we're currently experiencing, and that also summons in a higher solution, a higher vibration, some other way of seeing or experiencing what we're going through.
that is correct.
Yeah.
Allowing better, bigger solutions to come through. And because of at our level, we may not see all the possibilities, but when we take that break, of course, we take a break and our vibration changes
Mm,
just by taking that break and allowing intervention. And then you can see from a higher vibration, a higher frequency, greater possibilities that can occur, that will be occurring. And then, of course, being that witness to allowing those frequencies to come into you.
mm, so beautiful. Do you have any other things that particular passions that you have, joys, a way of being creative or even curious? I love the word curious because that's also kind of an inner child trait of being curious, of exploring all kinds of things. Do you have any particular, like, music or crystals or healing modalities that you turn to keep your soul nourished and your light shining?
I am a tea connoisseur. I love blending of teas and making my own batch, no matter what it is. I have this great tea spot that I go to, and when I'm always on the road, I venture into these tea shops to see what they have. And I love mixing teas. So when I come home, when I mix tea, my wife is like, "Oh, we're back at it again." Like this is tea. This is beautiful. So it's of the earth. I love gardening. I love going out there and planting, um, doing these things, and I love the earth, just the dirt. I love playing in the dirt. I don't know why. It's just who I am. I love the dirt, and I love connecting with Gaia herself, and it's just there. Um, what else do I love? I love the water, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I haven't been there recently in a long time, but yes, it's whenever I'm not doing these things, I'm always outside listening to the frequencies of that's around, especially of the earth. A lot of people talking about the human resonance and being in tuned. So it's kind of just sitting still and allowing the frequencies to flow through me, whatever they may be. Um, yeah, just sitting in a quiet spot and just be, allow my thoughts to just go and connect, really connect, and just be. But tea, love tea, lemon tea.
It's amazing. Each one of those things really is a nurturing experience. It's a nurturing relationship, the relationship you have with tea. I mean, when people, you don't have to be sick to enjoy tea, but like when we
Oh,
are not feeling well, a lot of people will naturally
that's the first
gravitate,
thing you get. Grab some tea.
grab some tea, right? You know, the spirit knows what feels good, and getting your
Yes,
hands in the dirt and creating in that way, just connecting. And really think about when you're in water, even if you're taking a bath, but if you're in the ocean, right, the salt water is especially cleansing. There's something, I've read about that. I've actually wanted to look that up again. There's something about salt water, which is not unlike an Epsom salt bath, I guess, the salts and our system, right?
yes, it is. Ah, it is beautiful. It is just allowing the flow, and everything about the water is just, I can feel it just moving through me and just
Mhm.
feeling, yeah,
Yeah,
it's cool.
it
It's
is
it's
beautiful.
it's it is beautiful. Allow everything to just flow naturally. It is the essence of life. You have
Water
the
is
water.
life,
You have the
right?
water and you have the sun. So you have the best of both worlds, and then there's the earth to allow growth from
Right.
within. So it's really connecting on all levels, on all soulful levels. It's yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
And you sound like you don't live at the beach now. No, you're not.
I
Are you
live
inland?
I live probably about 15, 20 minutes from the beach.
Yeah.
Um, 15 to 20 minutes from the beach. We haven't been there recently because of COVID and
All
everything
right.
else like that. So everything is being released and relaxed. So we will eventually get back
Get back there, right? But it is, I found too in my own life that that's where that inner child or that ability to tap, to look inside, and we can connect with the energy of water even if we're not like the ocean. We can connect with the ocean even if we're not at the ocean.
there. Oh,
We,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. All it takes is our thoughts to take us to where we need to be,
Yeah.
to open up and really connect. And we are much more than what we are capable of or allowing ourselves to be. Because we connect, once we connect on the deeper levels, and with the energies, it'll take us and it'll bring to us what we need. So if we sit in meditation and we want to say, hey, let's connect with the water, we can literally open up that window and allow the water to flow through us, all around us, and we can be in that bliss at any given moment. Same with the earth. You can go outside, you connect barefoot um, with the earth, but you don't need to do that. You just open up again and you can really connect. Set meditation, everybody meditates the same way. They ask me, how do I meditate? And sometimes I was like, I'm always in meditation.
Mm,
They're
right.
just constantly going. I'm constantly listening. And if the thoughts come, the thoughts come. And it's just, if you're in constant meditation, everything will connect one right after the other.
Yeah, it's that flow. It's that flow is the natural order of life. It is part of the divine design. And when we're not experiencing that, and like I've said, I've been somebody who has not, I've had my own experiences of not being in the flow, and the discomfort is my cue that it's, to go back into that breathing, to reset and realign myself with the natural flow, and to allow myself to release the things that are a cog to that flow, that are blocking somehow that flow. um,
Yes. And sometimes I come to understand here as well. If we're listening to certain frequencies and certain music, certain meditational stuff, there comes to a point where we are going to have to evolve to something different,
Mm.
because you're going to get to a point where it's like, that doesn't do it for me anymore. It's not doing the same thing. So that means my vibration is changing, my frequency is changing. It's time to allow other to come in so I can attune to a higher frequency
Mm.
and allow myself to expand even more.
Yeah, it's so true that I've experienced that, and it can be fun. It can be beautiful when you can say, that no longer feeds my spirit. It no longer gets me excited. I no longer have the same response. And if we can recognize that, the joy is, and I wonder what is going to, what new music I'm going to find, what new podcasts or books I'm going to discover, or people that I'm going to meet, or whatever it is. There's a call to newness at that point, that expansion. That's what the soul loves. I mean, it's
Yes.
absolutely
You said it perfectly. There is a call to newness. And
yeah,
when you do that, everyone that's going to trigger you will be placed in your path.
yeah, right,
Yes.
right.
And so it's like you're meeting old friends.
Mhm. Yes, yes,
It's like you're meeting old friends that you resonate with, and you're like, "That's I." They're just old friends.
yeah,
They're here to remind you that, hey, it's okay. We got you.
yeah,
This is it. This is how you be, and this is how it is. And now let's go.
right. Let's go. It's exactly right.
Yes, let's go.
I just want to ask you before we close out, is there any message that you feel you're living by, or something you would say to people who are in their awakening journey, or going to that next level expansion, or trying to find that meditative moment in each moment, just the joy in life, if and even if they're in hard times, like what would you say to somebody who's going through the journey?
Everyone, everyone's journey is individual. It's different. No one is going to be the same. Everyone's going to experience something totally different at any given point in time. There may be similarities, but everything is designed for you and you specifically. Whatever your soul needs to grow is whatever is going to attract. Whether it be a sign, whether it be an individual that comes into your path, where there's going to be some pain, some sorrow, that's catered solely for the individual. And when that happens and that occurs, um, it's no longer as like, oh man, everything's crashing down on me, but you're still here.
Mm,
And it's crashing down so things can be built back up. So it's like you're looking, but then let's see the bigger picture, what's going on. You just got to get through this. There are people along the way who are going to assist you. Um, and when you search them out, they will be there for you to help and assist you. But every two journeys are completely different. We are going to experience different things. I understand when I first started that to learn meditation, I always thought there's going to be, hey, sit and do this and do that. But I could only sit for like 20 to 30 minutes. And then I'm like, okay. But again, we all have a different way of meditating, whether
mm,
it's just taking a walk outside, planting, cleaning. For some, it's cleaning. You get into that zone and you forget everything and you allow meditation, going to the beach, watching the waves come up, watching the sunrise, watching the sunset. Whatever it is, just soothes your soul. Just allow it and just be. Um, we've all been
mm,
what we call the dark night of the soul.
yeah.
And we've all seen hard times. Everyone's journey is not all flowers. We've all been through rough times.
Mm,
It's how we end up here. It's why we're here, to assist those who are going through rough times to get to where they need to be, to the next level. So be patient.
Mm,
Everything comes to us in divine timing. And sometimes when we see things, we have to take a step back
mm,
and allow yourself to be a witness.
mm,
Because I come to understand that our energies are not for everyone. We're not supposed to save everyone. We're supposed to show them. Now, when we show them, it is up to them to make that conscious choice, to go or not go. And again, all choices must be honored.
mm. Well, so beautifully said. There's just a flow and a beautiful energy that I'm just drinking it in when you're talking, and that patience, that listening, that witnessing, that awareness inside yourself as the spiritual being having the experience, right? And I was thinking when you were talking that maybe presence, like my form of meditation is like you said, I'm not somebody who actually can do very well in meditation. I'm either receiving messages when I get quiet at all, I'm getting messages, but I also know when I'm just in my presence and I'm just in this beautiful breathing space inside myself. That's meditation. Like I'm being refueled, refreshed, revitalized in most of my day simply because I think that conscious breathing has been, maybe it was always a part of me, but now I'm more conscious of it. And when I'm more conscious of it, I know that a breath is a meditation. Just that conscious breath is a meditation. And
Absolutely.
I can't tell you how many people contact me and say, I know I don't meditate, or I don't know how to meditate. And I think meditation has become a thing with like a 1 or 2 or 10 step process that if you're not doing that, you're not meditating. And the truth is like you said, gardening can be a meditation, going for a swim in the ocean can be a meditation. Wherever you are and you're connecting with your breathing and your presence and you're in that state of allowing, I think you're in meditation. Meditation is another word for
Absolutely.
connection. I'm connecting with
Absolutely.
who I really am,
Absolutely.
right?
100% correct. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to say, because it was really important when you described, you were talking about everybody has their own unique journey. It's unique to them. Our journey doesn't have to look like somebody else's journey next to us. Comparing is kind of an egoic mechanism to make us feel bigger or smaller than someone else. We all have our own unique way that we're journeying the spiritual awakening process right now and the activations that are happening. And I was having this experience in myself when you were talking about that unique journey um, and listening for new ways that we're going to be inspired or led or guided in some way. And it's like if you go, this has happened to my family recently, of course, with COVID. You know, we went to go cook like a soup that we love, and then we realized we didn't have like the onion and the celery. There's like forms the core foundation of the soup that most people cook, right? But what we did is we were like, well, that doesn't stop us from making soup. You go into your cupboards or you go in and you allow, like, so the old recipe, the original recipe wasn't something that was working. You allow a new recipe and new ingredients to come in, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That that element of creativity
Yeah.
at any point in time and spontaneity. Everything doesn't have to be a certain way all the time. Allow change. Things are ever changing.
Mm.
Nothing is definite.
Yes.
Nothing is changing. Nothing is always finalized. I'm always saying there's like, hey, what's the first thing? It's just like change is inevitable.
Mm.
It's going to change whether you like it or not. You just have to embrace it and love it a little.
Mm.
And it enhances everything around us when that happens.
Right. And
Yes.
there it is change is creation. It is, you know, And I think creation is always expanding and creating itself. And that's us. And that's you and I co-creating this conversation in this podcast today. And there's so many ways to create. That's what makes life is so exciting. And I want to thank you, Delsol, for joining me in this amazing heart streamed conversation and connection that I know our audience is very much going to enjoy. And I look forward to having more conversations with you in the future.
Thank you for having me. It has been an honor,
Yeah,
always an honor to co-create with you.
thank
Thank
you. And where can people find more information about you? Is the best way, what's the best way to connect with you?
Right now, I have the YouTube channel Solaris Trinity that I will be posting activation light codes, water codes, whatever streams through me will be available there. I will be developing a website pretty soon where they can contact me. But once that gets going, wherever Spirit tells me to go, I will be there for everyone to assist whenever possible.
And that's the greatest answer. Wherever spirit leads you to be, there you will be, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And for sure, more on wholesale mastery, and maybe even potentially in some roundtables to come. So I thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and I want to thank our listeners who tune in on Whole Soul Mastery and who also might be listening to this on Color the Magic, because I'm going to start posting more and more of these videos for the community there as well. And until next time, blessings, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.